Welcome back to Tom's Garage. Welcome back, everybody. Woo! Today, pow, it's another Ariens. Another Ariens tractor. It's the third one in a week. Third one in a week. And I'm fixing to show you what we're going to do to this thing. Pull his hood off and I'll show you. Alright. Raising it. Yep. And there's your problem. Leaky carburetor. The weight of that fuel comes down through here, goes into the carburetor, it bypasses the needle and seat, goes into the intake manifold, and fills up with gas. On this 20 horse intake, Briggs & Stratton, you've got one cylinder here and then the other cylinder. This one goes down. See how it goes down? That one don't. Well, that's where all the fuel's gonna go. That's why this side is wet and drippy. Got drippy all over it. Look at that, that's just raw fuel. And of course, when that happens, it is going to fill up the crankcase oil. And you see how high that level is on the stick. And it's thin, and it smells like gas. So we're gonna have to change that oil and oil filter. I see he's got a broke off bolt right there too in this valve cover. Let's see if we can get that out of there for him. And I can see we got a little nest in there. We got to pull this cover off anyway. We'll get that cleaned up for him. You can see it coming out of the spark plug hole. That ain't good. Looks like it's wet way down in there. It is. It is. Let's get this thing taken apart. Uh-oh. But first, money. I'll tell you, it's weird, man. When the phone rings, two people at once always call. It's never one at a time. It's always, when you get a phone call, it's always two at a time, and you always miss one. It's so weird. It's so weird. All right, let's get this thing pulled apart. Get this pump taken off here, that fuel pump. Well, the first thing I need to do is clamp that fuel line so it's quit dripping. Quit dripping. Take your 5/16 socket. 5/16 socket. And then take your 3/8 socket. You don't have to take this all the way out, but I do. All right. Got two more in the back I can't get with that impact, so what I'll do is use my handy dandy little ratchet. Craftsman 3/8 ratchet. Fingers in there. Work it out. I'm not taking that one all the way out, or the one over here either. I'm just going to loosen them and pull them back far enough for that cover to come off. Far enough for the cover to come off. Here. This dipstick out of the way. I'm hoping I can just, clean that carburetor. I'm hoping it's just got some trash in it between the needle and the seat. That's what I'm hoping for. Otherwise, we may have to replace the carburetor. Yeah. All right, on top, you got four 5/16 head. You got to get this screen off there. And let's go ahead and pop this air filter out. Sometimes you can soak your air filter too and have to replace it, but this one's fine. Okay, you got 1, 2 1/4-inch socket. Takes these two off. These screw directly into the manifold, intake manifold. Let me lower this thing down a little bit. Now we can see what we're doing. Be careful with these because they go into plastic. Set this over there somewhere. Ooh, little screws get hot. Let me grab a 1/4-inch socket. And we'll get these two out of there. These go into plastic too. All right. Yeah, we got a little nest right in yonder. We got to clean all this debris out of there. Little pieces of newspaper and all kinds of stuff. Cardboard. Okay. Make sure you pull this hose off. This is the fuel tank vent. Not all of them have this. If I can get that, if I can get a hold of it, we'll pull it off. I might have to take a screwdriver. Yeah, let me grab a screwdriver. Trying to do this with one hand. Let me put the camera down. It's got those little barbs on there that love to grab a hold of this thing. Yeah, this is just a tank vent. It just goes through here, up here to right there. Because the cap ain't vented, so you got to have another vent. And of course the EPA makes them recirculate the fuel fumes into the intake. So that's where that goes. And of course you got another crankcase breather hose right here. You have to pull this out of the housing. See that? Blow that thing off real good before I put it back in. It's got that little ring on it. It just fits in that little hole. Oh boy. Now let's get that fuel line disconnected. Seems like I just did a video on doing one of these. Matter of fact, I had to do a carburetor on that Ariens with a 2-barrel Nicky. 2-barrel Nicky. Put that on there like that, brackets hold. Brackets hold. And shell just pop right off. Ooh. There you go. And I always like to inspect this pulse line too. Make sure there ain't no cracks in it or anywhere. All right. Now we get to take the carburetor off. Yay. Well, the air compressor didn't want to kick on just then. What is going on with my air compressor? Huh, let me look at this thing. I think it gets hot. That like I don't want to kick on. I done that the other day too. What are you doing over there, Mr. Compressor? I think it just gets hot while it does that. Oh, it kicked the breaker on the power strip. Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll let that thing cool off a little bit. Everything gets hot and quits working, just like this GoPro camera. Unplug your fuel solenoid. And then this is your choke. Let me lower the camera down a little bit and you can see what I'm doing. Grab a flashlight. Ooh, well, that thing's got a strong magnet. What you want to do is grab a hold of it and pull it straight out like that. And try not to lose this thing. It shouldn't just fall out. And we'll have to take, let me raise the camera back up, that's too low. Take these 4 bolts out of the intake manifold, and this thing will come loose. Then you can unhook it, the throttle linkage here. So that's what we'll do there. Okay. Grab yourself a Torx 27 or a 3/8 socket. That'd be good too. Right there, and right there, there, and there. They can be tight because they have thread lock on them. Yeah, look at all the fuel pouring out. Man, that thing is full. Ooh, that whole thing is full. Let me get a couple of rags, man. That thing is just in a pan. Golly, that's a lot of fuel. You just gotta let it throw up. Throw some rags down. Ain't really no easy way to do this. You just gotta make yourself a big mess. I need something a little more absorbent than these things. Well, that's one good way to clean the table. This gasoline will evaporate pretty quick. Just let it do it. Let it do its thing. Here it comes. Looks to me like that fuel might be a little yellow and stale. See, now you can take and unhook that. You gotta put it at a certain angle and it'll slide out of there. Dump out whatever's left in there. Whew. Yeah, that cylinder right there is completely full. Wow. I'm gonna go ahead and let the oil be draining, but I need to figure out a good way to do that. I'm not gonna use my Motivac to vacuum that oil and stuff out of there because that gasoline in it will absolutely destroy that Motivac within minutes. But the only other way to do it is that plug right there. And boy, that's going to leave a good mess because that thing, it doesn't clear the frame, so it's just going to go everywhere. I need to find, that whole thing's loose in the block. I need to find a hose or something I can hook to that. Or a big piece of fuel line or something. if I can squeeze this. No, that's not big enough either. I keep a piece of water hose and also keep a piece of galvanized pipe. That's going to be too small to go over that. So we'll have to use this, but that's still going to make a good mess. Here. Yeah, well, let's just do it and hope for the best. I need to get that air compressor off of that power strip. I believe that's what our problem is with it. I believe that power strip gets hot. Okay. Well, I got to get a wrench in there to hold that hex part because it ain't letting me unsnap it. So you have to twist it and then pull it out a little bit to get the flow started. But the whole thing's moving. I believe that's a 7/8. You could even get a wrench in there. No, it's bigger than the 7/8. So what I'll do is just screw it back in as much as I can by finger, and I'll just wedge a screwdriver under it. That held it enough. Now we'll get ready to make a big old mess. A pair of pliers, that thing's so oily and greasy. I ain't got a hold of it. This, and just to warn you, there's going to be a lot coming out of here. So we got to be fast. And it's thin too. Well, I'll just pull it completely off, which is fine. Ah, I'm missing the table, the bucket. Woo, what a mess we have got here. Good grief. See how thin and fast it comes out? And there's going to be a lot of it. Because like I said, this engine was completely full. You saw the intake chamber. And all you can do is just sit here and hold it while it finishes. And hope your bucket's big enough. Let me grab another bucket. Woo! While that drains out, I'm going to take this big spill mat and lay it down here. What a mess we have got ourselves. Whew. Set this out somewhere. Now look, I'm gonna forget I set that bucket there and walk by and just punt it. Ooh. Ooh. Don't be scared to make a mess, just be prepared for it. Set this stuff over here, parts washer. You making a mess, baby? Well, we know. I'll tell you, that spill mat really soaks it up pretty quick. And whoever gave me this spill mat, a little stack of these spill mats, and you know who you are, and I appreciate it. Matter of fact, it's the first time I had to really use one. Golly. And we can see down in here, all the gas is gone now. It all drained out. That's why we're gonna, well, this one's still full. I'm gonna have to spin the engine over, let one of them valves open. That way all that can seep past the rings. Just let it drain into the engine. We turn the engine over a little bit and you watch it disappear. Yeah, there it goes. Wow. Well, I'll tell you, that's probably one of the best ones I've seen leak right there. I'm about to pull the spark plugs out and it's going to pour out of the spark plug hole. Alright, I can see that valve opening. Not sure which one it is, but I can see this one bubbling a little bit. Let's get these spark plugs pulled out of here. What a mess. Little sick tractor. Poor Mr. Sick Tractor. That spark plug wasn't even hardly tight. That's why I saw it a little wet down in there. It's seeping out from around the spark plug. Watch how much it pours out of this hole here. Because this filled up all the way up to the intake, like I said. There it goes. It's coming out. Soaking wet. Let's go over here and pull this one out. I can see a little nest in there too. That camera ain't got hot and shut off yet. I'm surprised. Let me grab another spill mat. I'll take this away. All right. All that nastiness in there. Get out of there, nastiness. Fish out that piece of cardboard, the little critter drug in there. Yeah. Yeah, there it goes. It's coming out that spark plug hole over there. Piston's coming to top dead center. It's just a big old nasty mess you have to make. Now it'll come out of this one. There it goes. There's some more. Boy, this thing is gonna smoke like a freight train when I crank it. Whew. I'm gonna hit pause for a minute, let the camera cool off, let it charge for a minute. I'm gonna get this mess cleaned up, and then we'll commence to looking at the carburetor. Y'all hang with. Okie dokie, mess is cleaned up. I took a little air hose and I just kind of blew it lightly. Try to evaporate whatever fuel might be still lingering around. So she's pretty dry. What I'm gonna do now that I believe she's all drained and everything, I'm going to, well, both, I ain't putting the spark plugs back in yet, but I'm just gonna take a couple of rags and just stick it inside that cool tin. I'm gonna spin the engine over. That way whatever's left in the combustion chamber in the cylinder will kind of blow out. Yeah, that's wet, that still had some in it. Okay, now over to the workbench. We'll go through this carburetor. Go through the carburetor. Through the carburetor. Oh, yesterday, that's why I didn't get nothing. That's why, you know, I'm trying to hurry and make a video. I didn't make no videos yesterday on Sunday because I was busy running another air hose. I ran an orange air hose all the way down the wall, all the way across the header of the garage door and down that left side right there. Now I have an air hose. I can put my air chuck in that, my air blow gun, and I can clean stuff off at the door like air filters and stuff instead of blowing stuff all over my computers and printers. So let's do that. Let me get this air blow gun off here. And then we'll take this carburetor to the door and just blow all the dust and debris off of it. Blow it clean. Uh-oh. Let me hit pause. I got somebody pulling in, boy. Alrighty, let's get this thing blowed off. Very lightly blow all the stuff off of it. Uh-oh, I just blew the O-ring off. Where'd it go? Where'd it go, O-ring? We'll find it. Alrighty, let's get back to the workbench. I gotta hit pause. I gotta go wring my sweatband out. All right, before we do that though, I forgot about the oil filter. We gotta get that oil filter off there. Where they? Right there. I'm gonna have to get my 3-jaw over that one. I ain't got enough room to get in there with that one. Okay, there we go, good. That wasn't tight at all. Try to get this under there and catch most of it. Let it drain. Let it drain. All right, I'm gonna leave that on there. We'll set this over here out of the way somewhere. Ooh, so much to do. All right, we'll just let that drain. We'll get back over here focused on this carburetor. Focus on the carburetor. Don't forget about that. The other one's about to fall off too. We'll grab it. All right. 7/16 socket. All right, set this aside. 4 nuts. And then we're going to use an E5. It's like an external Torx. E5. I need to get this gasket off there because it's going to damage it. I've got more gaskets, but if we can save this one, I'm all for it. I may put a new gasket on there depending on how bad it is, how easy it comes off. Well, there we go. Well, we just slid back on that side. Get off there, boy. It's good shape. Take the reef. That one's already loose. If you don't take that gasket off, see this shoulder? It'll just destroy the gasket. Alrighty. We'll leave these gaskets intact. Alright, this faces towards the front of the motor. So I'm going to take these off. Remember, it come out of that hole. Put it on the right side, left side. Goes from the inside. All right. Just blow some of that stuff off the outside. Give it a good washing. Blow some of that goo off of it. I don't want to take it apart without being all nasty. Yeah. All right, let's take this bolt off. Sometimes these screws can be really, really tight. And I like to use a flat screwdriver. The biggest one I can get in there. Sometimes I have to put this thing in the vise. There we go, we got it. That was cooperating. Yeah, there we go, we got it. You know that rubber seal's gonna stick. Try to get it off there, I don't want to damage it. Stretch it. Yeah, it's just got some really nasty, bad gas. I see a lot of debris. Get this gasket off there. Get this gasket dried out, because gasoline on this gasket or carb cleaner makes it swell, and you'll never get it back in there until it completely dries. So I'm going to set this on the trailer fender. Just let the sun bake on it. Okay, now we know this is still facing, it's upside down, but it's still facing forward. And if these little jets fall out, you're in trouble, because they're not the same size. That needle Let's take a good look at it. Don't see a ring around it or anything. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good to me. I'm hoping. Of course, it's nasty. And don't let that O-ring down there fall off and disappear. It's what seals inside of there, so I'm gonna pull it off and set it aside. Let's clean that bowl. A little screwdriver, just kind of clean around in there. Any kind of loose debris. That's a lot better than it was. I'm going to come back over here and test the solenoid. Plug it back in and turn the key on and off. See it doing anything. Uh-oh. More money. Well, anywho, I'm gonna pull this solenoid out of here. Oh, let's see. Grab a wrench. I believe that's a 1/2 inch. Oh, what thing's tight. Oh, God. Yeah, it's a little tight. Not a good way to grab it without damaging the bowl. I just need to put it in the vise over there is what I need to do. Let's do that. Let's do that. Can't get no leverage. There we go. Yeah, that solenoid is just gooed up. Just got a bunch of goo in it. That's what happens. They get gummy. You just got to take carb cleaner and work it and clean it. There. Now that's working. Make sure you don't lose that washer right there. Little aluminum washer. Okay, head back over. Head back over to the corrector. Yep. She's working now, by golly. Oh, let the tripod fall over. I've never done that before. Okay. What I want to do now is get your Phillips head, pull this off. Well, don't strip it. Don't strip it, Dobie. Where's my smaller screwdriver? Before I let that thing strip, I'm gonna grab it with this. I'm gonna take that screw off of another bad Nicky carb and replace that screw. I think I damaged it pretty good just then. is. Here's that. Pull this off very easily, gentle. All right. Now I need to try to work this gasket off of it. Careful. Careful. There we go. A lot of times these passages can get clogged up. There's down in there, but we're going to get this off. Be careful not to let those little jets fall out. All right, the carburetor's facing forward, but it's upside down. So it would be like this. This would be the left side. It's got an L and an R. So on the right side, if I can read it, it should say 111, and on the right side it's 114. In case they fall out. 114 is on the left side, 111 is on the right side, is what I can tell. Yeah, you can barely see it. If it's got any kind of corrosion on it, man, you can't see it at all. But let's just hope they don't fall out. There's my Phillips head. There it is. Let me slide the camera back a little bit. And you can't get this 180 degrees out. It only goes on one way. See how it's elongated on this side and it's not as pronounced on that side? These screws are offset from the center of this, so you can only put it on one way. I can just smell the bad gas in this thing is the reason I'm cleaning it. Give it a thorough cleaning. All right, 2 jets. Hang on to them. Make sure they're open. To clean these, just take a small wire, go through them real good, and then spray it. And then give it a little puff of air. Just gently. All right, set that right there. You have got little gaskets right there. You can take something like this and pull it out, but I'm going to leave it alone because you can see in there, those 2 little holes, there's a jet that comes up through here of these 2 holes. So what I'll do is take the smallest one I can find, a little wire. I want to make sure it's not clogged. If I can hit the center of that thing, this wire's all bent up. See? Make sure it's open. Same with this one. If these are clogged, it'll make it surge and then make it run real rich on one side. Golly, I need to blow some of that dust and debris off of it again. Okay, you want to know that's clean. Let me take a little bit closer look at this seat. Yeah, it's a pretty nasty looking seat. It's pretty nasty looking. So, my favorite trick, a little polishing compound. Not rubbing compound, just polishing compound. I'll grab a, go ahead and grab a Q-tip. Grab a Q-tip. Put it in the drill. And this is why it was flooding. That seat wasn't sealing. All right. Now you can see how bright and shiny and pretty that needle seat is. She's a shiner like a new penny. And then we'll clean this needle here. I'll have to start with the sides first because the sides is what makes contact with that hole that goes in. That's why it gets sticky. These little fins keep it centered in there. It looks a lot better than it does before. All right. Lay that right there. Back on like that. Get that one started. That one down. That one down. Pin back in it. Go out here and get that little O-ring I took out. Ooh, that thing's pretty warm. That might have caused it to swell too. Make sure it goes back in there. Ooh, I might have to let it cool off. Look how much bigger it is than it's supposed to be. Yeah, this thing is hot. I may have it in there. Yeah, we got it in there. Make sure it's laying flat. And this faces towards the front of the tractor. Let's see, right there. Oop, I forgot. Can't forget the little O-ring. And I'm going to put just a little dash of WD. That way when we stick it back on, it'll go over. This will go inside that O-ring. And we'll just catch it and mangle it. It's good. Is the camera angle good? Let me move it a little bit. Just get them snug down. I like to take another look at it, make sure the O-ring ain't deformed, sticking out. I'll give it a good little snugging. Okay. You've got two more little ports. You got one there and one there. I can see they're open. I can see my finger through it. So those are clear. I really need to take this off, but I ain't going to because he said it was running fine when it happened. My biggest concern was just that needle seat. We'll find out. We will find out. Which one of these was I damaged? It was that one. I damaged that one. So I'll go find another screw. Let me hit pause real quick and I'll go find another screw. Alright, here's a junk carburetor I got out of the gold mine box over there. We'll just stick that screw there in that one and use the good one I took out. And let me stick this back over there before I get confused. End up putting this back on there, but what do you, buddy? Okay, looking good so far. Gaskets are still good. It's gonna go like that. You know, you could mess up and do that, but remember when before I took it off, front of the tractor, this side was going down. So, put the choke lever back on there. Throttle linkage. Right there. I'll get two opposed to each other lined up. That way you know the other two will go in there. All right, E5. You don't have to get it real tight. Just a little bit. A little bit. There's that. Put your gasket back on there. Put that back on there. Put the little nuts back on there. Uh-oh. Golly. More money. Alrighty. This is plastic, so be careful. Go easy. And we'll put our little O-rings back on. These O-rings, there's a little ear right there, and right there, little spike sticking out. That's what helps hold the O-ring. So you can see where the O-ring, you can see where it was sitting on that. So you don't have to get it back on it perfectly. All right, I believe we're in good shape. Let's get her back on there. I want to put it back together, get the fuel line hooked up. I'm gonna drain that fuel tank, clean it, then we'll run it. Grab our flashlight. Stick that fuel line somewhere. Throttle linkage. You're running in there like that, let that fuel line bounce all up in your way. Okay, we're hooked in there. What I do with the screws. You'll find what I did with the screws. There they are. Alright. Back in there. Always start them by finger. That's good. This one over here started. You know, before I do that, I said I was going to try to get that broken bolt out of there for him. I did. And this carburetor and intake will be right in the way. Leave that laying right there like that. I'm gonna try to get a pair of needle nose and grab the end of that bolt and try to screw it back this direction. You can't screw it that way because there's not enough room. You can see how long it is. Let me try. Give it a little try here without boogering up his threads, because it's got to go back through. Just carefully. That's about as much as I can grab. Let me grab a small screwdriver. Maybe we can get lucky and get this thing to turn. Wedge it in there somehow or another and get it to turn for us. There it goes. I'm getting it to turn little by little. There's a certain sweet spot in here you can wedge the screwdriver and turn it. Like gasket silicone in the way. I'm gonna grab a needly nose. That bolt is broken off so jagged you really couldn't get in there to grind it flat. To try to drill it, center punch it and drill it with an easy out, you really couldn't get in there to it. I'm terrible at doing that anyway. I can't really ever get it centered. I end up going through the side with it. I'm getting it little by little. You just gotta have patience and just keep working it. Try not to booger that stuff around it. We're gonna get it though. We are going to get it. The key is to not squeeze it real hard, but to just gently get this on there and turn it. A little bit more that time. Oh, my arm's getting tired now. I'll just grab a little piece right there and see if I can. There we go. Every time you move it, it gives you more to grab. Anywho, the camera just cut off because it's hot. I'm taking that real sharp chisel. And there we go. Now you can grab it with your fingers. Oh, there it is. I'll find him another bolt. But what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna make this a part 1 and 2 because it's getting late. The camera's quitting, battery's dead, and I gotta have a video for today. Tomorrow, part 2, or Wednesday, whenever, we'll slap it back together, man, and we're gonna run it. I'll go ahead and do that part 2 tomorrow to get that video out early. Because I got so busy this weekend doing other things. I had so much other stuff come up. I never had a chance to do a video or do any work. I had to do something for myself for once. All right, boys and girls, y'all be good. Part 2, we're gonna run it. Put it back together and run it. I got that bolt out of it like I wanted to do. So y'all be good, boys and girls. Love y'all to death, man. Y'all tell somebody I love them, and we will catch y'all pretty early tomorrow. I'm gonna get this second part 2 out pretty fast. Y'all be good.